best parts of my day are the times in the day when my boyfriend and I ride around in my golf cart around the lake that I live on, and we let my dogs run along with us. And the dogs love it too because they get to run free. They get to chase whatever's out, birds, duck, deer, and they run in and out of the woods and they swim in the lake and they just have the best time. And we have a great time too, and we just laugh and we relish in their happiness and watch them, do what they love. And it's also our time to connect with each other and enjoy the beauty around us. Yet there's one area on the back side of the lake that's separated from the main body of the lake. And we make sure to drive a little bit faster by that section every time to avoid letting the dogs actually go in the water there. Because it's a stagnant pool of water. It's this murky water pool detached from the main lake. And the brown water is swirled with this oily substance and green bubbles on top of it. And one morning last week, we were riding by that section, and instead of speeding up like normal, my boyfriend actually stopped suddenly because the dogs had run into the cleaner, prettier section of the lake on the other side of us. And so we turned to the left. We both looked over at the murky water, little pond, in disgust. And my boyfriend said, "That's just pretty gross." And then he asked the question that he said, "I wonder what makes it look so disgusting and what makes it bubble up like that." Well, I knew that he knew the answer to that, and but I decided to answer anyway because at that moment I had this realization hit me in my core. And I answered with this. I said, because it's stagnant and it's contained, it's isolated. There's just no life in it, just like we can get when we are living or existing that way. And I resonated with that feeling all too well in that moment because just that morning I had woken up with this feeling of stagnancy myself in a routine, in duty and obligation and, and kind of in the grind. And I'm usually very mindful and intentional about making sure to balance self-care and work and, responsibilities and to have some fun and incorporate some variety in my schedule on a weekly basis or regular basis. But, it had been a really busy few weeks with a lot of demands and all good stuff, but still demands and obligations. And I'd fallen into a rut as a result. And I realized that I was out of balance. I hadn't had fun in a while. I'd been sleeping a little bit more. I was isolating. And I'd fallen into the trap of obligation and duty. And even with the minimum amount of self-care that I was doing, it still felt routine and grindy. Thank goodness I was nowhere near the stagnancy and the toxicity of that small body of water that we were looking at, but it was a great picture in that moment of where we can all end up as a result of that way of existing. I'd already recognized the place that I was in, of course, and being self-aware enables me to realize it quickly and then be able to make adjustments with the self-management tools that I have learned. And, I had already decided to get out of the rut, and I was committed to take the steps to interrupt the bad pattern that I'd fallen into. And I did feel grateful in that moment that I do have the awareness and the tools that enabled me to shift out of those patterns that are no longer serving me in life. Yet I realized in that moment that it was no coincidence that my boyfriend stopped by that stagnant pool of water that day. It actually provided a clear picture to me that's now etched in my mind of and my heart and is a reminder actually of truth for me to be able to share with you. That if you're in that place right now in your life, if you're feeling stagnant, if you're feeling isolated, like you're merely existing, stuck in duty, obligation, expectation, responsibility, and there's very little life source flowing through you, if you can feel that toxic energy swirling around and bubbling up inside of you, if you feel contained, like that murky pool of water, then you too can make the decision right now to make a change. You can make the decision to make the shift and do something different. Create that shift in your life. Add some variety to your days. Do something that brings life to you, that lights your fire within. Change up your workout. Move your body in some new way. Get outside and get perspective in nature, or just relax and have fun a little bit. Choose to reconnect to yourself and to others, because that's the first thing that we do is disconnect and isolate. Or do something fun. Play a little bit. Just visualize it in your mind. And feel it in your body. What it feels like for you to feel fully alive. And allow that energy to begin to shift you into that space. Don't settle for being toxic or like the toxic, murky, stagnant pool of water that everybody avoids. Choose instead to embody the vast, clear, deep, peaceful, sparkling, fully alive, refreshing, thriving body of water that you were intended to be.